Hi, friends, and hello. My name's host Eric. I'm host Talking with Famous People, and tonight I live stream to talk about atonement for living selfishly. So, heretofore in my life, I've lived pretty selfishly. Hi, Ron Allen Salon. Horace Bumbler came around and sort of scolded me today, as I frequently get scolded by multiple people about not TEing enough, not being very results oriented and stuff like that. And then, Jeff Shaw came tonight, amidst various other points made, that one as well. Well, this is a serious time. It's always important to be serious, Jebediah Emporium, because now is a serious time. Anyhow, well, it's not just a reflective man period for me. I'm operating on a fairly long time frame for me, which is to say, when I was young, I would presume myself capable of operating on a longer time frame than I really was capable of. So I'd think, aha, this is good. This passion will absorb me for the next 6 months, and it would really be 2 days. But what's happening right now, the reason I use atonement, the word atonement, is because I did a Rachel did a card reading or whatever for me, and like, I don't personally do future reading, but she did, and she did past, present, future, and future one said atonement, basically. So the thing is, to interpret that, you can think about it a couple of ways. Well, I chose to think about it in terms of basically getting my shit together, I guess. I see right now as an ongoing process of me getting my shit together. So it may not be showing yet in terms of YouTube behaviors, but it's nevertheless happening. I mean, I'm in the process of doing so. Like, tomorrow, I'm going to get 8 teeth pulled out. I'm going to get the left side of my mouth fixed, so that my teeth aren't a problem for me. And yeah, I know it's going to be a rough day. And I have plans moving forward to do a couple of different things. I don't want to really articulate them because I guess I'll just let my actions speak for themselves, I guess. But I'm aware of and continue to think about the fact that now is a serious time. Okay. And my point is, I'm in the process of doing these things, but also I'm in the process of building the map, which is to say, understanding why or in what sense this change represents a duty that I'm going to have to fulfill. So I guess, as this is the last day of an Adderall bottle. And I feel like I did a really good job this month of managing the Adderall consumption, but I don't. I was somewhat hamstrung in the first half of the month by this infected tooth, which was kind of bringing me down. Well, yeah, for that for sure. But in general, it's what I'm talking about is a general shift of paradigm, basically, away from primarily entertaining myself to partially, at least, focusing a part of every day and generally of changing the frame of reference to make things um, more outcome oriented. Uh, like I said, I don't really want to get into too many specifics, but well, Isaiah Rude, I will tell you that it's fine to play. You're young, play. There's nothing wrong with playing. The thing is, I'm 49 years old and um, positioned right now to atone for or to make it such that I've earned uh, a lot of the either selfish lifestyle, which is to say, kind of immoral or whatever, or actual bad behaviors from the past, and in general having life set kind of on easy mode. It's weird for me to say that. It feels that way now, but it's games played early in the season still count, and it's not like much of my life was easy breezy. It was actually quite a day to day struggle, as I struggled with a variety of things, both ontological, which is to say, related to my own self concept, and uh, behavioral, like alcohol problems or whatever. And those things necessarily, when prioritized, cause you to deprioritize to some extent some other things that are important as well. It's a matter of finding a manageable, sustainable, like I you know I like drug habits I can sustain over time, and the ones I have right now are sustainable. In fact, it seems as though I in general have been gradually taking less or fewer amphetamines, um, because well, they basically don't work as well as they used to, in the sense that it used to be that I could borrow against the future with very little interest, which is to say I could take a bunch of amphetamines, stay up for a few days or whatever, a couple days, and then however much sleep I had lost during that period of time, I could make that amount of sleep up on the other end, and I'd be back to zero, and it'd be fine. Now it seems like I'm paying interest on my borrowing, that I have to rest more. Have to rest more every uh, for every instance of borrowing. So it's like if I lose 7 hours sleep, I'm gonna have to sleep 9 now to get it back, or 10. So it's less of a beneficial behavior for me in terms of it converts less to directly into productivity. Regarding my mom, Winston's mom says it hasn't been that long since your mother went to hospice. It's been quite a while. It's been a year. You're barely over the responsibility of her being her caregiver. Now I'm over that. But the reality is this, I guess, that it's taken me at least this long. It's taken me at least this long to I guess come to terms with the reality of both my parents aging and eventual deaths. So my dad's very sharp, not what you would call reduced by age, really, in any easy to point out way. But I note the difference. I can see some changes in him. Funny thing is the kind of stuff that he attributes to, like, he goes, "I'm losing it, Eric." Like, he couldn't remember the last name of this supervisor he had back in 1978 when he worked for the county, and that used to be the principal at some in some Palmdale based county facility for special ed. You couldn't remember this guy's last name. First name was Bob. He was like, I tell you, I'm losing it. It's not, I'm getting older. I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember that. It's like, Dad, you can't believe you can't remember a coworker from 1978's last name. I can believe you can't remember that. I mean, who would expect you to remember that? What sane person would think this is a memory that I'd expect David to retain? Hi, Octavia Sola. Hey, it's okay, Moritz, when I call myself a harlot. I prefer you not call me one, because you're not yourself a harlot, so you're not allowed to use that word. That's only a word that we harlots use among each other. I'm not saying anything for the heathens, because I don't represent that group, but harlots, yeah. I'm both. I'm both a harlot and a strumpet. And I'm also the star of a Harlequin romance. When I say, yo, Eric doesn't reply, but when a whammon does, he does. It really depends on how deep I am into the thought or whatever, or when the timing. So I think when you came in and said, hi, Leaf Trimmer, I was in the middle of explaining something and I forgot about your hi by the time I was done explaining it. In contrast, when I reached the end of that last explanation, Octavia Silva's hire was still the most recent chat. The conclusions people leap to sometimes about me are weird. It's like, it is not the case that I'm more likely to say hi to a woman than a man, I don't think. If it is, it certainly is unconscious. And if, in fact, I'm a little more interested in general in saying hi to chicks than to dudes, I mean, that's kind of just natural, right? I think Texas was hit by a natural storm or geothermal weapon. I'm going to say natural storm. But I haven't looked into the matter at all, to be perfectly honest. This is the first I've heard of any alternative possibility to a natural storm. You're going to say weapon. Okay. My friend hates Dickens so much, and we say that to fuck with him all the time. Wow, Winston's mom. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Make up your mind, Charles Dickens. Cloud seeding. All right, I'm going to admit it. I have a habit of climbing up to the top of the mountain and shooting my man seed into clouds. And I can't say for sure, but I'm afraid that it's possible I'm responsible for those storms. Because, when I put the man seed into the cloud, we're talking many, many, many gallons. That's enough to drive any cloud wild with passion. And I guess, determined to fly south for the winter. Ergo, Texas. Southeast for the winter. Ergo, Texas. Does this have anything to do with chemtrails, flow state? The fourth commandment. What's the fourth commandment? Okay. I've actually looked into chemtrails before. I remain wholly unconvinced. What's the fourth commandment? Thou shalt not put chemtrails in the air. I mean, the only particularly logical explanation, if you were to validate chemtrails, would be that some organization with the power to do so decided to unilaterally put what they believe to be reflective particulates of some sort into the air to slow, reduce, mitigate, or potentially even, I guess if it were enough of it, reverse global warming. That's an explanation that would make sense as a motivation, I guess. I'm not particularly prone to buying into supervillain plans, like trying to exterminate, percentage of the population or whatever. If it's a large enough group, it starts to strain credibility pretty quick. I mean, you can argue, well, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing or something, but Trump was a Trojan horse. I'm done with that shit. Trump was a Trojan horse for whom? Oliver Linehan informs me that Eric, an ESFP academic, quote unquote, has pushed herself into the national conversation with stupidity yet again. Who is this person you talk about? Are you gonna link with me something that's gonna make me angry? Just having a sort of like the NWO, the Netherworld Wickedness Organization. Robin DiAngelo. It's just gonna make me so mad. I'm gonna have to. I mean, soon enough, I'm gonna be starting to make a lot of videos about this stuff. But at the moment, I'm kind of feeling like teeth first, then I'll worry about whatever. Robin, what's the last name? DeAngelo. White fragility, race, and privilege. Is the anti-racism training industry just peddling white supremacy? White fragility is condescending toward black people, says linguist John McWhorter. Jesus. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism? Dear Lord. She can suck it. Fuck you, Robin DiAngelo. So evil and you don't even know it. It's like, so it really is the worst kind of evil, right? Completely oblivious to the wickedness of their own behavior. Absolutely, completely fucking oblivious. And smugly certain about the wrongness, that the wrongness is right. It's just like, it's fucking appalling. Even leftists think she's a tool. That's good. She's like that lady Judith Butler. What an asswipe that woman is. Judith Butler. Judith Butler, I'd like to invite you to please suck it. Also, Tardo D'Angelo, or whatever your name is. Robin D'Angelo. I'd also like to send you an invitation to suck it. When you're done, both of you can lick my butthole. And then go home and write letters to everybody you know explaining why you're so stupid. That seems like a good set of instructions to these two for their illogical claptrap. Claptrap is what I'd call it. Do you know who Vouch is? A guy, a very YouTube guy. He's a guy who does something on YouTube. Is that who Vouch is? Do you know my penis? No, you don't. Pretty sure nobody here does. Well, I mean, except for Oliver Lionhead and Leaf Trimmer, of course. Boba Fett. But except for those three, none of them know. None of you know my... Oh, and Hal. 4 people here know my penis. But the rest of you don't know it. You've never had it in any of your orifices. No, I don't think Death Note is better than AOT. I think that's crazy sauce. I think it's crazy sauce that it's winning in the poll. I agree Death Note's very good. I think AOT blows it out of the water. Attack on Titan is not a show that you can sell to other people by nutshelling it. Death Note is. In every other regard, AOT is better. I mean, Death Note's got a neat little concept that you can explain in a minute. And people go, oh, that is a neat little concept. Let's see, Talking with Famous People poll. It only leaves me 5 choices. So I put for the first 5 anime choices. AOT, Death Note, Shippuden, One Piece, and let me see. I forget what the other one was. My Hero Academia. Currently, not only is Death Note beating AOT, Naruto Shippuden's beating AOT as well. My Hero Academia is in last place with 4%. I would definitely put One Piece in last place there. I might even put MHA above Naruto Shippuden. But it's a hard one for me, you know, because I have a lot of SI attachment to Naruto Shippuden. Like, I started watching that way back in early 2000. And for a long time, I'd watch it, like, I'd go week to week, and then I'd get frustrated, and I'd ignore it for a few months, and then I'd do a blast of them. And then I started going week to week again, and then I'd get annoyed, and I'd ignore it for a few months, I'd do a blast of them, you know. So I've been watching it for, you know, many years by the time it finally ended. I had my ESFJ mom watch AOT when she despises anime, and even she liked a little bit she watched. AOT also has the world's most epic opening theme song in all of anime. You want to watch the most fun kind of semi-porny anime, you gotta watch The Hidden Dungeon That Only I Can Enter. That's a funny fucking show. Because the guy, this is the concept of it. The guy's got these excellent skills and powers, but to use them costs life points. And to get more life points, he's got to basically experience pleasure. So that would include things like getting a lot of wealth or eating really good food, but mostly it includes getting erotically exciting experiences from hot chicks. So it's like it's very like if you wanted to, I guess if you were in a women's studies class and you wanted to write a paper about, lambasting something for being offensive and objectifying women or something, that show definitely does that. It introduces every woman in the show breasts first, and then the rest of them. He just won recently a harem contest in which a guy with multiple girlfriends brings them all into this arena, and they give them like scenarios, and the girls have to show what they do for their master in each of the scenarios. It's and of course it's got that thing that periodically happens in Japanese animation, which is the weird relationship between the brother and the sister. I've seen it in multiple animes. In Black Clover, with the weird relationship between Gauche and his little sister Marie. It's in this one, Full Blast. This The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter. And it's also in. I mean, I've seen it in a couple more too. Thanks, Jeff Shaw. Everyone's so concerned about things holding me back right now. Anime's holding me back. Anime's not individual with agency. It's incapable of holding me back. There's a show called Beyond the Boundary that has that weird incesty crap too. Yeah, I mean, it always makes me uncomfortable. It's like it's some sort of weird Japanese joke dealing with how close brothers and sisters are to each other in Japan, I guess. But I don't know. Makes me feel uncomfortable, I guess. Well, what I mean by that is it's the same basic message of you're better than this, Eric, which is silly. It's like, no, anime is not holding me back to the extent that I am indulging myself in anime. It's not the anime that's the problem. No, I'm talking about pornography at all. I'm talking about anime. This particular anime I was mentioning is particularly porny, and I started watching it. But it's certainly not the only anime I've recently started watching. And they're certainly not all porny like that one. I think it's pretty fun, that one. But, well, okay, fair enough. The point being, of course, if anytime we say some thing like anime or marijuana or whatever is holding me back, we are lying to ourselves about our own decision making and choice making and such. It's not like I'm not worried about whether I'm going to do what I got to do. I'll get it done. I find the whole teeth thing somewhat humbling, I guess. Because it's not just like, they say, okay, we're going to pull these 8 out that we definitely have to pull out right now because the left side of your mouth is all disaster. But, should they look at the panoramic x-ray, they call it, and she says, well, really a lot of these other teeth need to be pulled too. And so it's like, Jesus. It reminds me of a book, actually, by Martin Amis. I think so. Maybe his dad was a different name. Kingsley Amis. It's Kingsley Amis's son, Martin Amis. And he talks about how, I guess he had to basically get all the teeth pulled out of him and such, but at a younger age than me, like in his mid 30s or late 30s or something. And he talks about how it was a real ego check. Like, he had, I guess, obviously a much different situation than I, which is to say, he grew up the child of a famous father and was himself afforded sort of famous writer status. He had inroads and the, I guess, architecture around him to make him a successful writer at a fairly young age. And apparently had ego issues or whatever. I don't really feel like I have ego issues. I'm not worried about myself being too egotistical or arrogant or a lot of things I get accused of. I am worried about myself being, selfishly indulgent. Not really worried about it, but I've recognized it as the thing I need to remedy, that I've had plenty of time to play around. And but I've been hampered, I think, for a good stretch of time now by better part of a month or more by this tooth. Now, this last week I felt good because I've been taking these antibiotics and it killed the infection, and so it was like I wasn't in pain really, and I wasn't running a kind of low-grade fever from an infection anymore. But no, my indulgence hasn't been a byproduct of pain. Some of it may have linked to not really feeling well. So in other words, my lack of productivity to a certain extent can be attributed to that for a certain stretch of time. But that lack of productivity extended beyond that stretch of time. And it's really, I think, it feels to me as though the slabs have afforded me in all instances in life, really, the opportunity by Octavia Silva, in all instances, the opportunity to get out of my system what I need to get out of my system. It's like without locking me into something too stupid. Well, I think so I think this extreme rest period is somewhat me finally getting my way. It's like all through life I was like, but I just want to play all the time, and I never really got to do that. I mean, I did a little bit in the early 2000s, but I had a lot more responsibilities then. I had a little kid and stuff like that, you know. And I did put in a lot of years working really hard. So, I think it wasn't until I came back home, and even further until both mom had moved out and Rachel had been successfully treated by a psychiatrist, that I've really been able to fully relax and kind of be a kid that just gets to play and not have to be burdened by responsibilities so much and stuff. I think it's good that I was able to do that. And I think it's good that it's time to process all this stuff that's happened, including, the playtime and stuff. Get my teeth pulled out. And start working things out by simply not being too ambitious, and also keeping the frame in mind consistently day after day. So I do a couple of productive things a day. It's like, I'm not going to instantly change to a different person overnight. I won't be able to sustain anything like that. So I'm thinking a lot about, and now beginning to talk about, the processes of atoning for a lifetime of half-assery, I guess. Well, it wasn't really a lifetime of it, but I mean, kind of it was. It's like, even when I was super successful as a debate coach and stuff, I was also a drunk, So there's your half-assery again. It's like, I may not have been half-assed at work, but I was zero-assed not at work, so it ended up adding up to half-assery, I mean, I am David Sanderson. Like I just said, I'm getting 8 of my teeth pulled out tomorrow. There's actual, like, physical health and stuff, things that need to be attended to here, as well as metaphysical stuff. I've been taking antibiotics for the last 10 days in preparation for this thing. And doing some behind the scenes stuff that I don't really want to get into. And, one step at a time. I recognize that until the stuff I'm accomplishing is tangible for external people, that I'll continue to get heat from parties such as David Sanderson and Horse Mumbler, which I would call honest heat from those two people, and like medium honest heat from Jeff Shaw, which is probably not really even that medium honest, I guess. He sure seems more interested in winning a positioning battle with me than he does really in Winston's mom, I think you said it. Settled into with survival and security of love and belonging, ever in self-esteem. Maybe I feel like I need to pay something forward. I mean, I know I have duties to fulfill. I have a destiny to attain, or whatever. I think I'll probably try to move forward with another reduction in my rate of Adderall consumption for next month. I think I'm more effective when I just do about maybe probably one pill a day or something. Right. I'm not allowing other people to frame myself right now at all. This is all part and parcel of the course I set, and it's just me talking myself through the processes of doing things. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have more than just the first couple of steps charted. I have, like I said, I don't want to get into a lot of specifics, but I've got things. It's not like I'm not doing anything. And most importantly, though, David Sanderson, is no matter how much we want to chart ahead, we remember that we take things one step at a time. So it's like tomorrow I'm getting a teeth pulled, and that's the next thing to do on my list, At some point after that, I'm going to have to get a partial denture put in, or maybe possibly make a decision to get more teeth pulled and potentially get a full denture put in. I'm not sure. So that's a I guess it's a bit of an attention filler going into it a little bit. It's a little stressful for me to think about, but beyond that, it's part of a package of image improvement things I have in the works, including clothes buying and stuff like that. So if I'm going to present as a viable candidate, I'm going to have to not have a bunch of missing teeth and look all raggedy and shit, right? As has been already indicated, it is the case that I'm going to be launching actually probably two, definitely two, but I'm not sure exactly on the timing of them. 2 new channels. And the reason is because I had to come to accept that I'm never going to meaningfully constrain myself on this channel. So this channel will never be anything other than what it is. Like, even though this channel currently has more subscribers than any new channel that I might make, executing the plans I have in mind should probably, I would guess, produce a decent number of subs fairly quickly. So, of course, each of those 2 channels has to be done properly. In other words, it needs to have a clean. Again, I wish I wasn't really talking about all this stuff. I don't want to go into a whole lot of specs. But, one of them is for the presidential campaign, which I've talked about clearly before. And, clean slate, no strikes, one purpose, exactly. And then if I have shit that doesn't fit into that purpose, it can come right up here as always, I mean, right now, I'm not interested in advice. I'm not saying I didn't title this or talk about the subject because I'm lost as to what to do. It's more like, well, in the morning, I'm going to go to the bank and have them make a sizable cashier's check out to Santa Anita Dental Group, and then go do that. And yeah, I'm just sort of talking through my my feelings about the chapter change. I'm not seeking solvency. I'm not necessarily seeking commiseration or anything. I'm just talking out the reality of this chapter change. So it's like, as I'm, for my own purposes, I guess, going over some parts of the map to kind of SI solidify them. I'm, trying to solidify those parts of the map. I'm not looking to update them or improve them or decide on which parts of the map to put or something like that, Well, that's obviously why I don't want to really go into a lot of specifics about what I'm going to do, right? I'd rather just let my actions speak for themselves. So that's what I'm saying by I'm not trying to seek guidance or anything like that. For example, I say I'm going to get 8 teeth pulled tomorrow, and I actually am going to get 8 teeth pulled tomorrow. It's true I'm not doing anything right now, David Sanderson, but I'm up in part because being an SI user means kind of framing your experiences around anticipated upcoming things and or things that you're going to take a lot of energy or whatever. So I know, for example, that tomorrow's going to suck. And so here I am up later than I would normally be. Normally I'd be asleep by now. I'm up later because so what? I'm going to get up and be tired in the morning. It's going to suck anyway, right? And I'm going to then have to go to the bank and have them make a big checkout. It's always stressful to be, the one spending a large chunk of money rather than the one receiving a large chunk of money, right? So the thing I'm talking about right now is I'm saying I'm going to go get 8 teeth pulled tomorrow. And if you want to bet against that, go ahead. And then tomorrow evening, I will show you the holes and you can see just how good my follow through actually is, right? So you're right. Currently, in this moment, I'm not getting anything done. But I'm, from my experience, from in my head, the weekend is shot. The weekend's devoted towards this thing. Also, I was really not feeling well prior to a couple of days into the antibiotics. So I've only had a stretch of time here of, a week or so of feeling pretty good. Did I spend it wisely? Not especially, but, there's a frame of reference shift that takes a little bit of time. When I'm genuinely not feeling physically well, it's difficult for me to push myself to get things done. And then when I get better, well, it's I got a few things done that I need to get done, a few important things. I also, because there's another thing that is very important that I don't really talk about so much, but nevertheless matters a great deal, which is my relationship with my father and my ability to spend time with him and do things his way. Hiding my condition was dishonest? Hiding it from whom? Yeah, I have a number of lists, David Sanderson, but list making can be a bit of a trap for me. Well, it's not there anymore. I guess I had a paper right there that had stuff written on it in pen and pencil, but when I completed the things, I guess I took it down. Should put another one back up there. I do best when I write it out in pen and pencil. It takes me a few sort of maps to narrow a list down to executable single tasks, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I've got too many of them, David Sanderson. Like I said, I'm actually not really looking for either advice or critique at the moment. Just talking out the fact that I'm in the process of undergoing this chapter change, and you know, tomorrow is kind of a big day in that process for me. So, you know, maybe you could say I'm getting my teeth pulled as atonement for smoking all that meth. I don't want them to. I don't want them to put me to sleep. It's fine. I always tell them first thing, hey, I require multiple of those shots in my gun because I usually require an extra one. Yeah, they'll numb out my mouth, top and bottom, until I no longer feel pain. I've had teeth extracted before. I mean, I've never had this many teeth extracted at once before, but suppository cigarette? No, thank you. Why do I need a cigarette? I'll be fine. I can go 4 hours or whatever without a cigarette. That's no big deal. Why am I getting them pulled? Well, 4 of them are root tips, which means the tooth is all the way broken off to the gum, but the root's still embedded in the gum. So there's no salvaging the tooth. So they're either going to have to be replaced with implants, which are very expensive, or with, if I had 2 teeth on that side that I could bridge to, in theory, I could get a bridge instead of a partial denture. But unfortunately, there really isn't anything on that side of my mouth that they can bridge to. So there's like a couple of other teeth that are, you know, dead end or dying, can't be saved. I mean, I saw the x-rays. My mouth's a mess. So, yeah, of the teeth being pulled, none of them is a complete tooth. I guess one of them is almost a complete tooth, but they're all broken. Some of them broken out of little shards or just root tips. So it's not like they're pulling out teeth that even look okay, you know. It's not really a fear of general anesthesia. I had bad experience with it. The last time I remember it anyway, which was when I was 18 years old. I got I mean, that's not really actually true. I don't think I said that exactly. It is true that I was taking analgesics, and as long as I wasn't in any pain, I was playing Nana Nana Nana, Head in the Sand, Type 7, I guess. In that sense, you could say I was just being deceitful with myself. To the extent that I deceived my father, my attempt to conceal my pain consisted of maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes in the Super Bowl before I couldn't hide it anymore. It's not like the subject ever came up prior to that, and I was trying to hide it or anything. I don't feel as though my teeth problems are my dad's problem. He may love me and be willing to make it his problem, but that doesn't mean I feel like it is his problem. Obviously, I don't like dentists, and I don't like to have to get big problems dealt with because they're going to be super expensive, right? And if I can't pay for it, I don't expect myself to be able to get it, you know? So, you know, I don't feel entitled to have somebody else pay for my dental work. I guess I guess I knew my dad would, but well, I mean, I guess you could say that that was true in sort of a frame sense, but I don't recall myself ever actively hiding it from him or having to think about it around him at all because it wasn't hurting me until that day. So it may be the case that uh, I didn't want him to know because I mean, you know, I know he intervened and solved it, but I don't think that means I wanted to hide it from him, right? Just because I don't want to burden him with it doesn't mean I want to hide it from him exactly. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I wanted to avoid a situation in which I burdened him with it, right? That I burdened him financially with my problem, and I failed to do so. But I agree with what Oliver Linehan says here. I don't really think that's deceitful. You know, it's trying to be a good soldier. You know. Um, yeah, sure. If the situation were reversed, of course. But I'm assuming if the situation were reversed, he wouldn't want to burden me either, you know? So it's like, we're both right. Like me and my dad are both right. Of course, my dad, the thing that makes me feel bad about it, about not just coming clean and talking to him about it right away. In that regard, Horse Mumbler is right. It was probably in some regard selfish to not talk to him about something right away that I was going to end up having to talk to him about later and deny him the additional time in the process, right? Well, yeah, okay, what Horace Mumbler just said, I think that's a fair critique, that I need to remember that I'm fooling myself if I'm thinking I'm going to be able to afford all this dental work before I have to get help to get it done, you know? What role do you think a significant other should play in the chapter change? I myself am atoning for sloth, and the lifestyle change has affected my relationship a great deal, mostly time-wise. Well, it's something I've thought about, how these changes are going to impact Rachel. I feel fortunate because in this instance, for quite some time, going forward from the current moment to the future, everything I'm doing is still going to be done from here, basically. So it's not necessarily going to be a big change. Rachel seems to be happy being with me, even if she's not really party to what I'm doing, which is nice, because it means that it won't really feel any different if I'm having a bunch of conversations in which Rachel's not included. If she's sitting in that chair, well, that's not that different than just every day, right? I just might be presenting a little differently. I think she'll probably feel more engaged, as I'm more engaged with what I'm doing. I do tend to ask her opinions about certain things. And she'll give me sort of heads up occasionally in I shits that I've ignored. But yeah, your point is well taken, Horse Mumbler. And Fitz Christofferson, I think that if you do make a big chapter change, it tends to negatively affect a relationship. Interestingly, my quitting drinking ultimately is what killed my second marriage more than anything else, because it changed the relationship so much. Now all of a sudden I was not, a hardworking, successful career man most of the time, and a worthless drunk who needed to be taken care of by the CSFJ the rest of the time, So that changed the dynamic dramatically. All of a sudden, she'd previously been able to win every single argument ultimately by resorting to, oh yeah, well, you're a drunk. And that shaming shut me right up so much that eventually I stopped ever even pushing back, Once I quit drinking, things changed. So that was tough for her. And she was unwilling to, or unable to, reciprocate what I had done for quite some time, which is make a bunch of changes at her behest, because we're on to the next thing that's wrong with Eric, right? Some of which she was legit about, it's like there were legit complaints, some of which were just her imposing her function bias on me. This chapter change, I think, is not going to be difficult for Rachel, because she's she's aware, she's involved in the processes that are ongoing, and in terms of where we are and what we're doing day in and day out, we're still going to be in the same place, right? So, and a lot of times I'll get all caught up in a live stream and sort of, without even thinking about it, exclude Rachel from the thing and just yammer on myself. And a lot of times she doesn't even really want to participate in them. So, you know, it depends on her mood. So anyway, Leaf Drummer, one thing that I value a great deal, because I don't really expect it of her, but she increasingly does so as when she remembers, is yeah, for sure. The green screen will be part of a lot of stuff upcoming. Anyway, when Rachel feeds me, it's very much appreciated, and she does periodically hand me some food, bagel or something, or a burrito, and it's something that she started doing fairly recently that I kind of had to prompt, not in any kind of negative way, but just, you know, one of the occasions when she was expressing some sort of fear of not providing enough benefit to me or something, then I said, well, you know, you can always hand me a burrito occasionally or something like that. It would be greatly appreciated. Surprisingly more appreciated than any sane person would think, including myself. It's like, when, you know, that's why duality appeals to people, or at least to ENTPs, is I really appreciate it when someone hands me food. And, you know, it's like, I don't want to answer any questions about it. I don't want to be asked whether I'm hungry or not. I just want someone to hand me some food. You know, eat this, Eric, periodically. But this relationship doesn't really afford me a significant other that does that. And that's totally okay, because it's something that's easily enough. If you're in a adequately powerful position or significant position, it's something you can easily enough delegate to somebody else. Besides which, you know, it's pretty easy to fix as long as I have easy enough food. Ideally, the food I would have would function like as follows. Reach into the fridge, pull out a cube of food that is not messy to eat. It doesn't get on your hands at all. Eat it, have it completely fill you up with all of its nutrition, and have no preparation besides just taking off the wrapper of it, you know? That's your ideal food. If all my food were like that, then I would eat 3 square meals a day probably, because it would be just that easy. Like when we have plenty of Uncrustables, I eat a lot of Uncrustables because they're so easy and they're almost like real food. Frozen burritos are like the next best thing to Uncrustables because they're really straightforward and easy. For things that I have to cook, everything has to be meat that you can freeze and cook on the barbecue. So hamburgers, hot dogs, steaks, chicken sometimes. Frozen chicken tenders, great. We got some really great frozen chicken tenders at Final the other time that we went there. They were in panko breadcrumbs, and they were absolutely delicious. I got to say, for frozen food, they were just really quite an accomplished box of frozen chicken tenders, let me tell you. Obviously, if you want to go old school, you can get your Mama Celeste frozen pizzas. They're cheap. It takes about 3 of them to make a meal, but you know, the problem with those is freezer dynamics. Let's talk a little bit about freezer dynamics. If you want to get food that you never have to throw away, then you have to get food that doesn't go bad. So what does that mean? It means you either get canned food or you get like rice, like dry rice, dry spaghetti kind of stuff, or you get stuff that you can freeze. So I'm a big believer in the stuff that you can freeze approach. Because that way you can get real food that takes very little preparation. The thing is, the solution to all this ultimately is summed up in two simple but important words: food cube. The food cube business model is designed for people like us. I want a home food cube line of products in which you can buy a week's worth of food cubes. That's 24 food cubes, 21 meals for 7 days, and then 3 additional meals for midnight snack times when you want them, like 3 days a week or so. Okay. So you're talking about 24 meals a week. The total cost to you, $60. And it has all your nutrition that you need. It has all your vitamins, all your vegetables, your meats, your cheeses, your what's that thing called? Carbohydrates. It doesn't sound like communism. It sounds like a great business model. Okay. There was a conservative debate coach who was arguing with Destiny about whether or not Trump incited the Capitol riots or if his words specifically led to those bad consequences. I haven't listened to it yet. I mean, incite's a strong word. I think he's best accused of dereliction of duty. That's easy enough to establish. You can easily enough sustain the claim that he has a duty as president to be active in his attempts to quiet those who would behave inappropriately like that, and rather than take glee in it. So in that regard, I think it's easy enough to establish dereliction of duty. Whether or not you can establish that he incited it is a different matter entirely, and I find that to be a much trickier standard to meet, right? Because you can't point to any failure to act as a problem on the question of whether or not he incited something. Well, we don't have a lot of space in here, We currently have we got a new microwave, so we got now a full strength microwave instead of one of those weak microwaves. And we went to Costco the other day. We're gonna get a toaster, but they only had toaster ovens, and they only had one, and it was $200. So we were just going to get a regular toaster, like push the things down and the bread goes in, toast comes out kind of thing. But they didn't have any at Costco, interestingly. I guess they're probably too inexpensive for them to justify the space. Yeah, I could go on Amazon. I could take Horse Mumbler's advice and go to a thrift store and get one. The only reason we went to Costco at all is because my dad decided as an activity, basically, that he wanted to buy us a toaster. So we wanted to go to Costco to buy us a toaster. And I was like, okay, Dad, sure. You want to buy us a toaster? Sure. We'll go to Costco and we could use a toaster. We appreciate that. Sure. So that's why we went there. We didn't get a toaster. We ended up getting a lot of groceries instead. But yeah, we didn't get the toaster because they only had the $200 toaster oven. And I don't think my dad was wanting to buy us a toaster oven. He wanted to buy us a toaster. Okay, so We're getting that toaster oven. Toasters, I would expect to be about $15 or something, $20. I don't know. The only reason he wanted to buy us a toaster is because Rachel had begun going inside to toast bagels, which she did primarily because I thought it would be good for her to display a little bit more SFJ-ishness to my dad after my dad blamed her for not telling him that my teeth were a problem. So, of course, that just ends in it didn't encourage the BLM Antifa lot to riot, but when Trump does it, they get upset. It seems a little hypocritical. Well, nobody should encourage anybody to riot. However, I think if you're the president, who has, at least according to the courts and all rule of law anyway, regardless of what you think, needs to participate in the peaceful exchange of power with the lawful next president, and more or less refuses to do so, that critique of that individual is perfectly warranted, regardless of, I mean, the worst thing that happens in all of politics is what you just did there. Side A does something shitty. Side B goes, hey, you're doing a shitty thing. Side A goes, you did it too. You did it first, Side B. You did it back then when meow. So now we're doing it back to you. How do you like it? And then, of course, Side B takes power again, and then they go do some shitty thing. And Side A goes, hey, you're doing a shitty thing. They go, yeah, well, remember when we called you out doing a shitty thing? Well, you did it anyway. So now we're doing it to you double. So take that. That's how the world becomes shitty. You know? Don't say that, Boba Fett. That's how you get yourself banned on YouTube, and you get me in trouble too for some reason. You know, it's like Jesus Cristo. Nobody should be advocating any kind of violence. Nobody should be advocating any kind of rioting. And we should be encouraging it. It's stupid. It's a manifestation of the same, like, blame the bad guys technique that is the core of the problem in the first place. See, it's like, this is the other thing, Horseman, where people don't understand how much of a challenging, tricky business it is with my dad. It's like, I basically never ask my dad for anything. He doesn't like me asking him for things. But he does like to give things to me that I don't ask for. So, what can I tell you? That's just how it is. So I basically just never ask for anything, and he just gives me things that he wants to give me. I've given up trying to get ahead of the game here. My dad is just completely immune to NI path determination. I can never figure out how to really get close to him, I guess, is what it boils down to. Anyway, okay, I better go to bed. I do have to get up, go to bank at like 10 at the latest, get a cashier's check for the bank, for the dentist, and then go to the dentist. So, good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Don't mind the assorted kicks in the ass. I get it. Comes with the territory. So I'll probably be not making any videos tomorrow. And horse mother, that's probably a good idea. No, I'm gonna go to bed right now. And I probably won't be here at all tomorrow. I might not be here Sunday as well. It really depends on how I feel. So thanks, rock and roll, peace out, fight on, hang loose. And can I go to I'm just making a joke. And can I go to the bathroom?